Okay, so I'm going to London for VidCon in about 3 hours, so I didn't have time to script and edit in a really funny joke at the start of this video as I always do. I'm always pretty hilarious, but today I don't have time for that, so I'm just gonna throw in a random meme, throw some random meme edits on it, and we can all laugh and then move into the video.
My name?
So yeah, recently I've seen a lot of YouTube videos come out about unpopular opinions, so I thought I'd give it a go and make a list of 10 unpopular opinions that I have about rap. Now for almost each of these entries, I can make a whole video explaining them individually, but in this video I'm gonna try my best to summarize them very quickly so that we don't end up with a 30 to 40 minute video. So with that being said, let's not waste any more time because I really don't want to miss my train to London. And with that being said, this is CDTV Productions, and let's jump right into this list. Let's go.
What? You gonna hop on my car?
I'd rather listen to neither, but given the choice, self-titled gets the W. In all fairness, there's probably only like 5 albums I've heard that I want to listen to less than Die Lit, so it's no surprise that I think Playboi Carti's self-titled project is better. Firstly, it's not nearly an entire 60 minutes long, which is 57 minutes longer than I can tolerate Carti's style for. Instead, it's only 44 minutes too long. I'll take it. I think the overall vibe is something I enjoy much more too. Upbeat Carti is way more appealing to me than dark, minimalistic Carti, which just sounds completely void. I got around 5 tracks from self-titled, those being Location, Woke Up Like This, Do That Shit, Flex, and I can't even remember the other one. Oh yeah, and No Chopper. From Die Lit, I got Shoota, Old Money, and Chopper Won't Miss, and even then, I don't think those last 2 are all that amazing. Maybe one day it'll hit me, I'm still waiting for it, but I just don't see what so many other people seem to be seeing in Die Lit.
Give me drink, give me smoke, give me high, let me float, I'm a clown, coming down, put me down.
So in J. Cole's newest album, KOD, he introduced a new alter ego or a new character into his music called Kill Edward. His presence on the album instantly started discussions with people wondering what this character represented and what the significance of him was. It's not officially been confirmed yet, but I'll link a couple theories in the description below that I thought sounded pretty interesting about Kill Edward. The problem is, I feel he ruins the 2 tracks he's featured on in KOD, those tracks being The Cutoff and Friends. Cole has brilliant verses, but the way his vocals are oddly pitched during the Kill Edward segments sounds so awkward and off-key, and it throws off the tracks for me a lot, to the point where I just don't revisit them anymore. As you can imagine, I'm not very enthusiastic about the fact that Cole is now releasing an entire album based around this character, but at least it'll be cool to get some more backstory or more information on Kill Edward through that album. Overall, I'm not really a fan of how he sounds.
One trap with a big dream, my go hard won't ever settle. Go in for the kill what they taught me. By moving that shout tech in this bitch like I'm Clark Kent.
If I'm being honest, A$AP Rocky is an artist who, for the most part, I just feel like is okay, but none of his albums have ever actually engaged me the whole way through. The way I'd describe his music is that it almost feels pretty grey, in a way, if that makes sense. He's talented and I respect that he likes to try different things, but honestly, I just struggle to be interested by his delivery or overall presence on a song. Whereas Ferg is the complete opposite of that for me. As soon as you turn on one of his projects, it's gonna slap from the very first track, and he just has such a naturally charismatic and high energy sound to his music. There's really not many other songs out there that get me as hyped up as Trap in a Dream or Work. Whereas Rocky's presence on a song doesn't do that much for me, Ferg's presence on a song instantly has an electric feeling to it. Despite being from the same collective, it's fair to say that they both have fairly different sounds, and me personally, I just prefer the sound that Ferg goes for. If you look at the majority of lists people make for their top rapper of the 90s, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna see that list topped by Biggie or Pac, with some maybe opting for Nas. But for me, it's none of those guys. My personal favourite is Big L. He's nowhere near as well known to mainstream audiences and doesn't receive the same recognition as Biggie or Pac in the current day, but I think he should. When he does full-on storytelling tracks, they are always incredibly engaging, such as the Heist or Casualties of a Dice Game. Plus, his technical skills are astoundingly solid, from creative wordplay to impressive multi-syllable rhymes. A perfect example of all that is 98 Freestyle, a track that just has me smiling through every second of it due to Big L's bars.
Fucking punk, you ain't a leader, what? Nobody followed you. You was never shit. Your mother should've swallowed you. I'm far from broke, got enough bread. And mad hoes, ask Beavis, I get nothing but head.
Every single time I listen to his music, I'm impressed. And I do love Pac and Biggie, but Big L takes that #1 spot for me. If you love that gritty and hungry sound in rap music, I'd highly recommend his Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous album. It really is a classic.
I bring it home like I'm base to base. The base closet looking like Planet of the Bay. The names. What you think this life just landed on me? My whole city look like it's abandoned, homie.
Big Sean really does get a lot of hate from the hip-hop community. He's constantly referred to as the most passable or non-essential person in the rap game.
Big Sean continues to be the most non-essential artist in hip-hop today.
However, personally, I think his last 2 solo albums were pretty damn great, especially I Decided. They honestly made me a fan of his music. Dark Sky Paradise has a lot of bangers I revisit often, and I Decided cemented my enjoyment of his music as we got to see a much more personal side of Sean. Whether it was uplifting songs about his childhood and how he got past hard times, tracks about his past relationships, or him expressing his love for his family. He really has become a rapper I heavily enjoy after that album. And to be honest, I've always really enjoyed that recognizable run-on flow that he uses. Some people say it sounds corny, but I think it has a really nice sound to it, especially when Sean is just casually rattling off his lines like it's nothing. He may still have some of the cringiest bars in rap history, and he isn't the most unique artist ever, but I think he gets talked down on way too much for what he does.
Cool with the kid, copy. Got to pull up with a stick, stop it. Rich nigga shit, silent. Rich nigga, oh, hundreds pockets.
While we're talking about Migos, can we just quickly mention how hilarious Offset's album announcement trailer is? It raises so many questions, but that's irrelevant because we are talking about Takeoff here. Everyone constantly talks about how Takeoff is the underrated Migo or the underappreciated one, but in my opinion, his solo album is one of the things that really proves that wrong. It's not a bad album necessarily, but what it is kind of boring. He just doesn't have a voice or style that is dynamic or compelling enough to carry a whole solo album. He works much better when he's just providing a single verse to a track. That is when he can really kill it. But someone isn't underrated to me if they can't make great solo songs. Sure, maybe for a time he didn't get enough credit for the great verses that he put in on some Migos songs, but now it's kind of got to the point where it's that thing that if so many people say that you're underrated, if literally everyone is saying you're underrated, you're not really underrated or underappreciated anymore. I definitely think Takeoff is not underrated.
Bitch, all my grandma's dead, so ain't nobody praying for me. I'm on your head, ayy. 30 millions later, know the feds watching.
I remember after my very first listen to Damn, I thought to myself that it might genuinely be the best album Kendrick had ever released. But the way things are now, I actually think I prefer his other 3 studio albums, those being Section 80, Good Kid Mad City, and To Pimp a Butterfly. It's not even a case of me disliking Damn, that's not it at all. It's just a case of me liking his other 3 albums so much. Good Kid Mad City for me is his best so far, being an autobiographical look at Kendrick's life and the lessons that he's learned throughout it. To Pimp a Butterfly, while not the easiest album to listen to in a casual setting, is so nuanced and well crafted that I'd honestly refer to it as a masterpiece. That leaves us with Section 80, and again, this is another conceptually strong project that I think does go a little underappreciated sometimes. Kendrick's storytelling was as solid as ever on there. Like I said, it's nothing to do with me thinking Damn is bad, because I don't. It's just those other 3 albums, they're so good. Damn was good, but not as good as them.
Pull a drop top minivan with the flat red. Candy paint wet, hubba bubble gum. Seats with the sheep fur, peach fuzz, big it in. When I whip it back, Joe lean, pull a drop top.
Ski Mask's first 3 projects were excellent, and Slaps for My Drop Top Minivan might just be one of the most entertaining albums I've ever heard, but I don't feel like Ski Mask has put out anything that can match it since. Now this is an opinion I feel like a lot of people will disagree with due to Ski Mask's most recent album, Stokely, which was received pretty well and generally is considered to be great. But personally, I think it's just fairly good. Nothing amazing though. There's only around 7 tracks I come back to the album for, and the other 6 literally never get played. Ever. Then before that, we had The Book of Eli, which was just not a good album at all. It sounded like something Ski put out for the sake of it, and the numerous release issues didn't help it out either. Then there's You Will Regret, which was probably the closest we got to great without hitting that mark in my opinion. Again, it's fairly good, but I think it's dragged down by the second half. And that's everything we've received since the Drop Top Minivan EP, and none of those are great to me. I don't think he's fallen off or anything, but I'm definitely a bigger fan of Ski's older stuff than his newer releases.
Can name a sweater but not a talent, or don't know if whether or not they got one. Try to change their life for the better. I was a drama club kid.
Now I know this one is unpopular because every time I tweet it out on my Twitter account that you should definitely follow, go do that at CDTVProductions, I get bombarded with L's and disagreements. Now don't get me wrong, I think Flower Boy is an outstanding album. I love the warm, lush feeling that the production has on it, and it's easily Tyler's most mature album to date. But Wolf still takes the cake for me. One of the main things that really makes me so fond of it is how it supposedly fits into the storyline of Tyler's first 3 projects. He's never went on record as saying it, but the theory that Wolf is a prequel to Bastard makes so much sense, and the way the seemingly simple story is told throughout the album is great. Not to mention, a lot of my all-time favorite Tyler tracks are on here. Rusty has one of the best verses he's ever laid down, Answer is an emotional highlight of his career, and 48 is a song with a really powerful message. Also, I should mention one of the reasons might just be that it's the first Tyler album that really got me into his music. It kinda has a special place in my heart as the first full project I heard from. This may not be his most polished album in terms of production or maturity, but I still absolutely love it and see it as the album where Tyler was really starting to unlock his talents.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine. Hanging pictures on my...
Now this is one that I really could do a full in-depth video on, and I might actually do that. But I definitely do enjoy modern day hip hop more than 90s hip hop. That's not me saying I don't respect 90s rap or the influence that it's had, because I still love so much music from that era. But I'd rather listen to albums or songs that came out in the last 10 years the majority of the time. And one of the big reasons why is I think there's something for absolutely everyone in current day hip hop, with multiple styles of rap being innovated since the old days of it. You still want that 90s influenced sound with some great lyricism? Joey Badass, Big Crit, Freddie Gibbs, and Action Bronson all exist. But if that's not your thing, you've got a bunch of other subgenres to look into. There's so much variety now, and much more in terms of different sounds than there used to be. Hip hop is more diverse than ever, and sure, you could say that lyricism has taken a downfall, but only if you're looking in the wrong places. Some of the best lyricists ever are currently alive and relevant in the hip hop scene. I feel like a lot of the time people just point to mainstream rap and say, "That's the reason why rap is dead. No, that's horrible, that sucks." But we can't really act like the 90s didn't have its fair share of awful radio music as well. If you prefer 90s rap and you're 100% set on it being better than modern day rap, of course that's fine, and I'm not saying that that's a wrong opinion or that you should agree with mine. I'm not saying that at all. But the way I personally feel, hip hop is even better nowadays. And that, in my opinion, is one of my most unpopular hip hop opinions. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Well guys, that is going to be it for the video today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, I would appreciate you leaving a like and destroying that subscribe button. Luckily, I have managed to get this recorded in a good time. You know, I have enough time left to get my bags packed fully and everything before I go to London, so that's good. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of these opinions, if you agree with them, and hell, even let me know down in the comments below if there were some opinions on this list that you don't actually think are that unpopular. This is just mostly based off of what I see on online discussions and YouTube comments on my videos and stuff like that. But yeah, with that being said, thank you so much for watching guys. I will see you all in the next one, whatever that may be, and this is CDTV Productions, signing out.